Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat, joined by Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosiers. We come to you from the Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Here today is the 2018 Crossroads Classics underway and in the books now as Notre Dame took on Purdue in the first game, an easy game for Notre Dame. And then the second game, the fans got a great one with Indiana and Butler going at it down to a last-second shot by Rob Finney for Indiana, as the Hoosiers will come out of here with a huge win over Butler today. But, man, this was a game that started out slow for Indiana, and it took a while to pick up the pace, but it was a great game.
Yeah, we were talking in the media room about how it's just kind of a script for Indiana at this point. You know, they've 4 games in a row, they've fallen behind, they haven't gotten their heads down, they found a way to come through at the end, and it may not be the ideal way to play, but they're finding ways right now, and that's a good sign for the future.
Absolutely, and it's not because there's been a lot of stuff we've talked about, game to game, whether it's been three-point shooting or free throw shooting. None of that today. They did everything very, very well, and yet still this game was a knockdown, drag-out, buzzer-beating game. I mean, Indiana, for the game, shot 52% from the field, which is the same they shot in the first half and the second half. So they were extremely consistent, as they have been all year from two-point shooting. They're one of the tops in the country, and again today that showed, and they need that because they're not a great three-point shooting team, so they've got to hit those shots, and they do a great job with that today.
Yes, IU 6th in the country at field goal percentage, as you alluded to, and I thought Butler played great defense. Their on-the-ball pressure is fantastic. IU's point guards, Finney and Green, had 10 assists on only 2 turnovers. I thought that was huge. You know, the turnovers weren't as good with Langford and Morgan, but they did a lot of other things. Obviously, Morgan with a career high with 35 points, so you can't be too hard on that.
Yeah, let's talk about, go right to talking about Juwan. What an unbelievable stat line performance today. This is his place. He had the same output last year, 34 points last season against Notre Dame for a career high. He comes back and does it one better today with 35 against Butler. But this stat line is mind-boggling. He played 32 minutes, 12 of 14 from the field. He was 4 of 6 behind the arc and 7 of 7 at the free throw line. This dude was knocking down every shot that he put up. He missed 2 shots the entire day. 35 points, like you said. What a tremendous day for Juwan Morgan.
Yeah, this is kind of what we dreamed about when he came back and Langford signed with Indiana. It's just that combination where defenses can't really focus on either one of them. And when you have that mix and no double teams, they're both individually so good that you're going to have nights like that.
Yeah, and Coach LaVall Jordan, the Butler, spoke about it in the postgame press conference, but when Juwan Morgan gets the three-point shot going, he's unstoppable because he's a beast down below. He's got such touch around the basket, and if he's stepping out and knocking down shots, as he did today, 4 of 6, great day for him, but he's just a beast, and this guy, he's turning into an All-American type performer.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic inside-out game. I think Butler had no answers for him. If they would have thrown doubles at him, that would open things up for Langford. So it's a great combination for IU. And when you got complimentary guys, complimentary Finney, I don't even know if it's fair to say that he's ice cold at the end of games. But when you have 2 stars and then a cast of guys that can step up in moments like that, it's a great combination right now.
Yeah, and this team has been getting contributions from different cast members these past several games that they've had their close games. Today, not as much. It was just basically Romeo and Juwan. Like I said, Juwan with 35. Romeo had 13 points on the day. But if you had to pick a third guy, it's probably got to be Rob Finney. Not only does he knock down the last-second shot, a last-second three-pointer that was a busted play. This was not the play that they intended, so I've already seen people saying, wow, that's not a great play, not what I would have run. It's not what they wanted to run either. Right. So it broke down. And so Indiana is able to take nothing and turn something into it and get a win. Rob Finney with 9 points on the day, but he continues to play very unfreshman-like as a point guard.
Yeah, he had what could have been the game-winning assist on the possession before where he found Justin Smith for a dunk. I thought that was going to be the game winner, but Kamar Baldwin hit a big shot to force the final finish there. But Finney in the final minutes of 4 games in a row here has been what really looks like a senior point guard, but he's obviously just a freshman.
And you mentioned Sean McDermott for Butler. Man, he was lighting it up from outside. He shot 10 3-pointers, and he hit 6 of them today. He was a load and unstoppable. He had 20 points for Butler, but it wasn't quite enough. It looked like they were going to bury Indiana with that three-point shooting as it was going on, but Indiana started to chip away. They started to hit some three-pointers. At the end of the game, Indiana was 10 of 25 for 40%. Actually, it's Butler. Indiana was 9 of 21 for 43% behind the three-point line today. So a tremendous day for Indiana. 52% shooting overall, 43% behind the three-point line, and 80%, 8 of 10 at the free throw line. They did everything they could have done from a statistical standpoint, and they come out here with a win.
Yeah, and it was a 19-7 run in the final 9 minutes of the game to close it out. So that's big-time basketball.
And Indiana's on kind of a sort of break right now. You don't have a lot of games going on, and this is continuing to help them as they are still without the play of Jerome Hunter and Race Thompson, who Race Thompson is someone that we might see back here mid-January maybe. He's been going through a concussion protocol. Hunter, we're not expecting to see him back, but getting Race Thompson back can only help this team because they continue to actually need that third option, it seems like, scoring. Justin Smith does okay today. He scored 7 points at 4 rebounds, so he continues to play okay, but they really need that third guy that they can really count on.
Yeah, Thompson is kind of like Juwan Morgan Light. He's a kind of a stretch four, plays inside and out. He could really add some scoring punch to this team, so hopefully they get him back, because I agree they do need one more reliable option. They got a lot of guys like Green and Fennessy and Smith that at times appear to score, but they're not consistent in that regard.
And the turnovers didn't kill them today, but it could have. They had 15 turnovers. 5 of those they probably could have done without. That's some second-hand chance points they were giving up early on to Butler as well. They were getting beat on the offensive boards, but they seemed to get everything brought around when they needed to in time to win this game. But there are some things that they definitely need to improve on. But, man, from a shooting standpoint, you can't ask for anything more. Again, the statistics look very, very good for them. They've just got to get making a few less mistakes, I think a few less turnovers, and that's the difference between this team being a good team and being a really good team.
Yeah, I agree. I think, these next 3 games they can work to build on that, because then they're going to go to Michigan, which I don't think this formula of falling behind earlier and trying to rally back with defense in the end is going to win against a team like that. So hopefully they can get some things trued up before that Ann Arbor trip in January.
And Indiana, again, they've got a couple more non-conference games coming up before they start Big Ten play on January 3rd. I think they've got Jacksonville and Central Arkansas coming up at Assembly Hall. So those are a few games coming up next week. But Indiana kind of on a hiatus until Big Ten play starts. But when it does, it's going to come with a vengeance, and it's going to be a tough road. Maybe these close games are going to help them in conference play, because it's going to be a brutal, brutal schedule.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have to feel confident going into late games, even if you're down 5 or so. I mean, they've been through it. They know that they can pull it out at the end. So I think if nothing else, this is going to help them.
Absolutely, I agree. For Mike Schumann, I'm Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. Make sure you stay tuned to us each weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8, live on IndianaSportsBeat.com and assortment of other places, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcast, all those places. You can find us on Facebook as well as thedailyhoosier.com. Make sure you look up his free content for Indiana as well. That's going to wrap it up for us here today from Bankers Life Fieldhouse. For Mike Schumann, I'm Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat, and I'll see you on the radio.